Hey guys, so this week on the Fantasy 4 is Story Week. Basically, I'm going to tell some stories from my childhood that I think is funny. I guess they're those kind of stories where they're funny when you see them in person, but when you actually tell them they're not that funny, but I think they're funny. So, the first story is there was one time when I can't remember how old I was. I was probably about 7 or 8. We were at Wet and Wild, and there's this thing called the wave pool, and every now and then a wave will come, and it will it's like a really, really big wave, and it splashes you around everywhere in the pool. So I was in there, and I was with my family, and I was holding my dad's hand, and he was like, you have to hold on tight because I mean, I was little, so I was like, so he's like, you have to hold on tight or else you'll splash around or go somewhere else. So I was like, okay. So I was holding onto his hand, and when we went under the water, the wave came and everything, and I came back up, and there was some random lady holding my hand, and I looked at her, and my dad was at least a few, or maybe he was probably about 20 feet away from me, and I looked at him, and he was laughing at me, and I was like, how did I get here? And the lady was looking at me like I was crazy. I think it was really funny. There was another thing that happened to me when I was probably about in 3rd grade, and it's not really funny. It actually really hurt. We were down. I used to live in condos with my mom when I was younger. I was down at there was a little lake by the condos and stuff, and so me and a few of my friends that lived there with me, or lived in the condos area, we went down to the lake. That was our little hangout spot or whatever. So we were down there, and there's this one girl that was older than us. I was probably about in 3rd grade, and she was in 6th grade, so I thought that she was a really older girl, but really she wasn't. But so we were down at the lake, and we were picking up rocks and throwing them in the lake and everything, and then there's this really big rock, and this girl was really, really mean. She was a mean person. She was like, oh my gosh, there's a snake, and then she pretended to throw the rock, she was scared, and it actually it hit my eye. I don't know if you can see the scar. You probably can't, but it hit my eye, and now I have a really big scar, and it started gushing out blood and everything. And so I ran up to the condo. I was like, Mom, she threw a rock at me or whatever. And she was and she came up and she was like, no, it didn't. It slipped on my hand, blah, blah, blah. Which really it didn't, because we saw her throw it at me. And so for a few days, I couldn't open my mouth and eat because it hurt so bad. I almost had to get stitches, but I didn't. But it hurt so bad. Oh my gosh, that was the worst pain ever. And then the last story that I have is we were walking around this park that was by the condos that I used to live in with, it was just me and Mom, and it was my first bike that I've ever had, and it was a tricycle, I think, and it was my first time riding it and everything. So my mom was jogging behind me, and then there's a really big hill, and I was like, oh, good idea, I'm gonna go down the hill really fast. So I started going down the hill really, really fast, and then it was going so fast that I couldn't my feet couldn't keep up with the pedals, so I took my feet off the pedals, and I was yelling for my mom, and she was running behind me laughing, and I couldn't stop. So I was thinking in my head, I was I don't know what I'm gonna do. What do I do? I was like, okay, the only way I could stop myself is to go into something that will stop me. So I flew into the grass, and there was a ditch right there, so I flew off of my bike, and I flew into the ditch. And my mom was laughing so hard, and all these people around us were staring at my mom like she was the worst mom ever. But I was so mad at her when I was little, but now, I mean, if that happened to someone, I would have been laughing just as hard as her. So these are all the stories that I have for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the stories, or at least imagine it happening to you, or watching that happen to someone, and maybe you'll get some humor out of it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. Hope you guys had a good day. Peace.